Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Guess what? I got some great news. I've got a producer who's doing all the edit stuffs. Let me cut to him right now. Hey, I'm Kris. Shit. This top 10 strange and unsettling events of 2022. Twisted Tens, Rob Gavigan. I don't really, that was me. That was just me. Just do the video. Just all shut up. Just do the video.
I know, it took a while, but plenty of you are still wanting it. So here it is. 10 strange and disturbing events that happened in 2022.
Yay!
In this video, like similar videos in past years, we'll be highlighting a number of lesser-known events that took place last year, so that you'll hopefully leave this video learning of something new, and knowing that 2022 was even weirder and more unsettling than you originally thought it was. Beyond Meat, a company focused on providing meat-free individuals with meat-free alternatives. It's one of the most popular vegan food producers around, so you might assume the people running the operation are probably pretty plant-based themselves, but that may only apply when it comes to animals. In mid-September of 2022, the chief operating officer for Beyond Meat, a 53-year-old man named Doug Ramsey, was arrested after attending a
He killed and ate children.
college football game in Arkansas. After the game, Ramsey returned to his car in the nearby parking garage to leave, but ended up in an altercation with another driver. When the driver pulled out in front of Ramsey and accidentally connected with the tire of his Bronco, which resulted in Ramsey becoming instantly furious. Ramsey burst from his vehicle, blasted through the other car's back windshield, and grabbed and punched the driver. Still in a fit of rage and probably dying for a steak, Ramsey then proceeded to partially cannibalize the driver's face by biting off a part of his nose. Doug Ramsey.
I said he was gonna, kill and eat a child. Did not know that I was joking.
Ramsey was terminated from Beyond Meat shortly thereafter and is awaiting trial.
Bad move, Beyond Meat. Should have kept him. Our food makes you go so crazy.
Do you love getting high?
Eat our food and you'll want to eat a nose. Our food makes you so hungry for real meat, you won't even know the difference. I should do commercials.
In October of 2022, it was announced that scientists of Cortical Labs in Melbourne, Australia, had done something remarkable, or something unsettling depending on how you look at it. They had created what they call dish brain, what the research team at Cortical Labs calls the first sentient lab-grown brain in a dish. The scientists, who specialize in fusing living brain cells onto computing devices, had created a mini brain, essentially a handheld abomination of brain matter and circuits. But not only this, the scientists were also able to connect it to a video game, the classic 1970s game Pong, and the fun-sized cyborg brain was capable of learning the rules and effectively playing the game, even becoming competitive. They hope to use these experiments to help enhance the learning speed and adaptability of artificial intelligence systems. No need to further explain why that could be a horrible, horrible idea.
I never heard about that.
If you're happy to be watching this video right now, then you have CBDX to thank, because they're this episode's sponsor. Many of us enjoy a little herbal getaway every now and again.
Hey, get your herb on if you need to.
There's no doubt, especially given recent news regarding Turkey, that among all of Earth's natural disasters today, the earthquake is the most devastating. On June 21st, 2022, the ground began to tremble as a 6.2 magnitude earthquake unleashed terror and death over areas of Afghanistan. The June 2022 earthquake was so powerful that it was felt by 119 people as far as 500 kilometers or 310 miles away. Worst of all, however, the quake claimed the lives of 1,163 people and injured some 6,000 more. At least 10,000 homes had collapsed as a result, which made it the deadliest earthquake to hit Afghanistan in the prior 20 years.
Wow. I don't remember that one very much.
Ted Bundy, a name just about everyone knows very well, made the news once again in 2022, but for a reason you likely weren't expecting.
I said I don't remember that one very much. What I meant to say is I forgot. I remember hearing about it, but completely forgot about it because of the earthquake in Turkey and, a lot of things.
Mexican authorities announced in December of 2022 that they were on the hunt for an unidentified suspect who they believe is responsible for 3 murders in Tijuana. What made the horrific crimes all the more disturbing was the name that came to mind to authorities when they examined the crime scenes and the evidence: Ted Bundy. The way in which the victims were lured and killed closely resembled Bundy's modus operandi. The unknown man is believed to have a very charming look and personality and is able to quite easily seduce women in order to get them alone, and then fulfills his twisted urges, which also align eerily with Bundy's. Mexican authorities believe the man is an American who crosses the border specifically to hunt for victims. As this story is still...
I don't know what he's talking. He's just giving me compliments. I don't know what's going on. What did this guy do? Was it bad?
So recent, only...
What a vain asshole I come off right there.
Time will tell what comes first, an arrest or another body.
So Ted Bundy, copycats on the loose out there.
Water. It's pretty much the foundation of all living things, but we all know what they say about too much of a good thing. And floods are exactly that. From June to October of 2022, Pakistan was hit with massive flooding, caused by heavy monsoon rains and due in part to poor urban planning. Far more people fell victim to the oppressive waters than should have. A shocking 1,739 people have been reported dead as a result of the 2022 Pakistan floods.
Wow.
The floods peaked between July and August, covering approximately 32,800 square miles or 84,952 square kilometers, which is roughly 10 to 12% of the entire country. Of all the possible moments things could go wrong, one of the most terrifying would be while tens of thousands of feet in the air aboard an airplane. Devastatingly, in March of 2022, the passengers of China Eastern Flight MU 5375, flying from Kunming to Guangzhou, knew this terror firsthand when the plane, at an altitude of 29,000 feet, went into an extremely sudden and extremely sharp nosedive. It took the plane only 2 minutes to fall from the sky completely, and tragically, it then collided into a mountainside, destroying the plane and snuffing out the lives of all. Black box flight data was sent to the United States for analysis, where it was determined that the crash was deliberate. But the investigation is still ongoing, leaving all the many victims' loved ones left behind waiting for answers as to exactly what happened prior to what would become China's third deadliest air crash in history.
Was it a terrorist attack? Something like that? Wow. That's crazy. Terrorist attack, or is just a suicide, by a pilot? He just That's how he chose to end it, which it's a dick move.
It may seem just like science fiction to some others it may seem more cool than disturbing, but there is no doubt that the worldwide ramifications of such a reality could be disastrous. 2022 was quite a year for discussion regarding life outside our planet. United States congressional hearings were held with officials from the Pentagon regarding the presence of UFOs. Talk of aliens may be far from anything new, but it seems genuine concerns regarding their existence reached a new level in 2022. The House Intelligence Committee conducted the first hearing on UFOs in more than 50 years in May, over concerns by Congress that the military is doing exactly what we all suspect them to be doing, hiding something. In July, the House of Representatives voted for an amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act, which would make it so government workers and military personnel could more easily and securely report UFO encounters. This marks the first time in history that the U.S. Congress has so openly accepted the very real possibility of life outside of our planet. In July of 2022, in a report regarding the budget for America's clandestine services, buried deep within the text, Congress stated two things. One was regarding the distinction between man-made objects and objects that are confirmed to have not been made by man, which they refer to as, quote, unidentified aerospace undersea phenomena. The other thing, however, was a bit more unsettling. The text says, quote, cross-domain transmedium threats to the United States national security are expanding exponentially.
What the hell does that mean?
What is a cross-domain transmedium threat? Well, it's a term defined by the Pentagon as an object that can move from water to air to space, utilizing methods military and intelligence cannot replicate or even understand. It's an object that moves in ways that defy our very understanding of physics. The Pentagon went on to announce the opening of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office specifically to investigate cross-domain transmedium threats, because again, according to Congress, they are, quote-unquote, expanding exponentially. And if that's not enough for you, this video was leaked in 2022 showing a UFO flying over the ocean waves before diving down to transition seamlessly underwater. If it doesn't look convincing, it was taken by a U.S. Navy ship and has been confirmed authentic by the Pentagon. Aside from that, during their hearing, Pentagon officials also displayed two videos of different UFOs, both confirmed as authentic and unable to be identified or explained. Despite the government's all but admission to the existence of life outside of our planet, the debate still rages on whether or not people believe. Some believe, some don't believe, some want to believe, but soon enough, you may no longer have a choice.
I didn't see anything on that last video flyby, it said.
It's easy to take life for granted living in a place that's generally safe, surrounded by decent people. You may even have it so easy that you fabricate imaginary problems or social injustices so that you can say that you've fought for something, that you've experienced conflict.
Or imaginary friends. Am I right, guys? No one's here. Just me.
In places like Nigeria, most people don't have time for that kind of a thing because for them, they have to deal with things like actual conflict, specifically a bandit conflict that's been weighing on the Nigerian people for over a decade, where anyone could fall victim whether they're involved in the conflict or not. On April 10, 2022, a gang of bandits launched a series of attacks against the people of Plateau State, Nigeria. These attacks are connected to another conflict, referred to as the herder-farmer conflict. The divergence is primarily over land, between Muslim herders, who are part of the Fulani ethnic group, and non-Fulani farmers of Christian faith. The April attack was launched by the Fulani Muslim herders, who stormed a community of Plateau State, heavily armed, looted and burned down buildings and homes, and ended up claiming the lives of over 150 people. 70 others were kidnapped, and most, if not all of them, are either by now dead or wishing they were. This is just a taste of the reality some people live with in a society where entire communities are targeted with fatal consequences for what they have, what they believe, and for who they are. When you think of places with fatally oppressive heat, images that may come to mind be vast deserts of sand or barren lands as far as the eye can see, with dried up plants blasted by the relentless sun, tumbleweeds rolling through occasionally. But between June and August, in Europe, persistent heat waves impacted many European areas, from Ireland to Portugal to the UK to the Netherlands. These heat waves were so intense, with record-breaking temperatures routinely exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit, that widespread evacuations had to take place.
Wow.
Yet not everyone would find shelter from the immense temperatures. In fact, once the heat waves had finally subsided, close to 25,000 Europeans were dead, with 19 billion euros worth of damage as a result, making it the deadliest meteorological event of 2022.
People in Europe, you don't, if there's anyone watching from Europe, you guys, you don't have air conditioning, right? I mean, some places do, but it's not super common. I know that we get made fun of in America because we have some relatives who are like, why do you need it? And then they come over here and they're like, it's goddamn comfortable. So, that's a quote.
Other weighted blankets just say they're cooling. Ours actually is.
This is what I think of you, bud. Don't you fall off a cliff with your knitted blanket, you son of a bitch. All right, back to the video.
We close with what is one of the most bizarre and eerie cases on our list, the dark and tragic fate of Debony Escobar. Debony was an 18-year-old Mexican woman who went out on April 8, 2022, to party with some of her friends. When April 9th came, she had vanished. Mexican authorities were alerted, and the Mexican public was especially glued to this case, as Debony didn't simply disappear without a trace. She had a photograph taken of her right before she disappeared. The haunting photo shows Debony standing in the road, her arms wrapped around her waist, as she stares off into the distance. According to friends and witnesses, at some point during the night, Debony started to exhibit bizarre behavior. After getting into an altercation, she locked herself in a men's restroom, and at around 1:20 a.m. on April 9th, a rideshare service was called to take Debony home because her behavior had just become so erratic. Unfortunately, and perhaps luckily in some cases, Debony's friends didn't accompany her on the drive. Based on CCTV footage, Debony and the driver could be seen arguing. According to the driver, he was simply trying to ascertain her address or the address of a guardian to take her to, but she was being intensely argumentative and even aggressively groped him. Tensions rose to the point that Debony got out of the car and refused to get back inside. The photo taken of Debony standing in the road was taken by the driver himself and was sent to her friends who had organized the driver to pick her up, so they'd know what had happened and where Debony was. The driver waited around for a few more minutes, but Debony continued to refuse to get into the car, so the driver eventually had to leave. Shortly thereafter, CCTV caught her searching for help from nearby transportation offices who didn't respond to her attempts to reach them, possibly because nobody was there at the time. She then appeared to be heading in the direction of a motel, and this is when she suddenly vanished, with no clues as to where she could have gone. She was soon reported missing, and with aid from the eerie final photo and the circumstances surrounding her disappearance, the interest in the whereabouts of Debony Escobar captured the attention of countless people across social media. But despite all the eyes on the case and all the people digging for information, it would be all for nothing. 13 days later, Debony Escobar was found, and the worst nightmare of her family and loved ones was realized. She was found dead and decomposing in the water of a motel cistern, the motel she'd been seen walking towards on security footage. At first, a government autopsy concluded that Debony had fallen into the cistern, hit her head, and died as a result. Her father wasn't buying this, had his own autopsy performed, and it was realized that this was no accident. There were copious signs of violence on Debony's body, much of it sexual in nature, and evidence it had been inflicted prior to her death, which was ruled to be caused by a deep cranial contusion. There are still many questions regarding Debony Escobar's disappearance and death, from why she was acting so erratically that night to suspicions that the government autopsy was attempting to cover up Debony's true fate for reasons still unknown. We can only hope some answers and closure come soon. That's all for this episode. Thank you.
It sounded like she was, I don't want to say drugged in the club because they would have found something, but it almost seems like she was drugged. Maybe something happened in the club and she just, I don't know. I can't really speculate. I wasn't there. I wasn't. Seriously. Stop looking at me like that. I had nothing to do with it. I'm going to end this here. Like and subscribe. And until next time, this is where you just imagine I said something that was very, like, inspirational. Bye.